Welcome everyone to another week of Chat with Nessa. I'm Nessa and I'm so happy and honored now to have my friend, First Lady P, Miss Paulette Nixon, as my guest this week. Welcome, Paulette.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
This is a phenomenal woman. I have known you. It's been about a year. And you know what? She's phenomenal. She's a CEO, life coach, soon to be author, and a public speaker. And I want to get with these questions. This is a reschedule from June when I was not feeling well. So she was so gracious to let me reschedule her for today. And I'm excited for this special edition. So we're going to get right to the questions so our guests can get to know you better.
Yes, and I've known you for going on 2 years.
2 years. Yeah, it has because you know
As the
what?
pandemic.
2019.
Yeah,
2019. It's
absolutely.
been
Around this
two.
time, around
It
August.
was yes. Oh, 2 years. Yes. Hey, 2020. Right. I met you a year before the pandemic, and you know what?
Absolutely.
People don't know a lot about you. I know you have grown so many businesses during the pandemic. So I want to first ask you. I always ask every guest this first question. Tell me, as a little girl, growing up, did you ever envision you would be a CEO? Soon to be author, entrepreneur. Did you have that in your mind or as a goal when you were growing up as a little girl?
No, I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you what I had in my mind. Or I should say, I didn't know it was really in my mind, but what was on my mind. I would come home from school every day, me and my younger sister. I'm the oldest of five. And I come home every day with my younger sister when it was just us two. And every day we came home from school, we'd get off the bus and we'd have to walk the rest of the way. We'd actually went to school in DC and our mom got married and moved to Maryland. So we'd get off the bus in DC and walk the rest of the way. And every single day, I would say, okay, it's time to be in court. Court's in session. And so we would play court every day. And every day we would have some topic that I make up. And then when it was time for her to talk, I would say, case closed. The case is closed. This is really, really a true story. So I've always wanted to be a judge. I've always wanted to be a judge. And it's still a desire for me to do so. I just haven't put forth to do it, being the oldest of five, helping to take care of my siblings with my mom. I just know that resides in me. And most people will say I'm big at debating, I'm big at persuasion, I'm big at problem solving. So I'd say that probably, yeah, business, but towards my growing up as a child, I would say a judge. In high school, I knew I would probably be in business because I love accounting.
Uh, okay. So, what age did you know you were going to go in after you were grown? Did you immediately go into business, or you were always a home-based entrepreneur and had a job, or when did you really venture into what you're doing now?
I always did both. Growing up, we had the summer youth program with the mayor of Barry, and I did that at age 13. My first job was at the Department of Justice, then the Department of Agriculture. I always selected those type of jobs. So I knew I wanted to. In high school, I did bookkeeping and accounting, so I knew I was good at that. So I always had a job since age 13. And then after that, getting out of high school, helping to raise my siblings, I had a job as well. And I started entrepreneurship with doing PTM. That was Paulette, Tabitha, and Marianne. We would do outside events. Someone had a fabulous deck at their house, and we started saying we were going to have events. So they have all these events around the DMV. I was doing events back when I was like 19 years old, and I am 52 at this time.
Wow. That's something we have in common. Years ago in my 20s, I did event planning as a side business while I worked in corporate. I've always loved event planning, and then I did event planning in corporate. Event planning is a lot of work. It's a lot of details and logistics. It's a fun thing to do, but it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. So I just have a lot of trades, and I just always was just wanted to explore, just wanted to adventure out and do things. Event planning is part of that as well because My background is, again, Marion Barry, the youth programs. But when I got out into the work field, I started out as a travel agent at United Airlines. And then from there, I went traveling on familiarization trips and all over the world. So I even got to visit Hong Kong. So for me, event come business, because in any type of job, or I should say business, or events, there's a business side to any of it. So it was for fun, but we made money, like I say, from doing the PTM, but also the travel agent side of it made me want to explore more. So I got out and became adventurous, and that was my background. And then it just went from there.
Okay, now I know that in 2012 you created your nonprofit organization, MADE, Made Movement. But can you tell us about what your vision was behind that and the purpose of your nonprofit?
Well, again, I've always liked to help people. I don't have any children of my own. I never had kids. I always wanted to have children. I almost had a child, I'll say that, and then it was aborted. So again, I've never had been with child since then. And by the way, which is why I believe in people celebrating Mother's Day for me. But I've always took care of children in the communities that we live in and everything, and always been such a helper with people. And so, with that being said, back in 2012, I had decided the government job I had was a contract, and I left from doing the travel agent stuff, and the contracts had kind of slowed down and things had kind of slowed up. And I had decided I was going to retire. I had decided I was going to retire, and I was going to do a nonprofit organization, and I can go out into the world and ride around in an RV, which is a dream for me to have, which really isn't a dream anymore. I can possibly obtain it and achieve that now. But it was always a dream to have an RV. And so I started a nonprofit organization so that I can help the kids in the community, because growing up, I love helping my mom with my siblings, but I wanted to also make sure that I could be help to other kids in the community, not to experience some of the things I did. And one of the main things behind me was bullying. There was so much bullying going on, and I experienced that as a child. So I wanted to do whatever I can do to help kids not be left behind, not lacking anything, and so that they could have the same or better opportunities that I had growing up. And so it was in me to help children. And so my attitude determines everything is what it stands for. And I created that. And from there, it just boom. We had several events, and the core, we had four main cores around it, and it was leadership, academics, health and fitness, and etiquette. I wanted children to know how to present themselves, from dressing, from speaking when they would go out in the public, health and fitness, how they eat, making sure they do exercise. So we had a walk every year. um, we would do the academic part. We had tutors on board if they needed help with their homework, and leadership that became part of with the business side. Wanted children to know how to write their first check or whatever have you. So it was just a big desire for me to make sure the children, I felt like I'm not disappointed with it, but because, and I do it over again to help my mom with my siblings. But some of the things that I wish I'd done, I wish or pray that I can be a help to kids in the community.
Yeah. So that organization, is it still growing today? You still have kids?
It is growing today. It's been a little silent, but it is growing. It's actually still active in good standards. And I am working on some things behind the scenes. So look out, maids on the move. And we will be back soon with some of the outside activities. We've been doing a lot of things behind the scenes, online, personal. I work with schools for scholarships for children. We've done proms where we've given kids rides to the prom that may have been less fortunate to have the money to do so. So I do a lot of working with the schools. And of course, the bullying hasn't stopped. It's either cyber, it's in person, it's probably been at home during the pandemic. And so we are working behind the scenes, me and my team, to get some programs back in place. It was a little difficult because of the pandemic where you couldn't go out, but I still kept it in the back of the system, and we're moving forward to get that back out on the table.
Okay, well, you're a nonprofit. I do have a good girlfriend who came on the show, I would say 2 or 3 months ago, Michelle, and she's in Jersey, but she runs an organization where she specializes in grants
Okay.
for nonprofits, for profit, even government contracts. I have to put you in touch with Michelle because she's
Oh,
been
thank
doing
you so
government
much.
grants for over 20 years. And she
Wonderful.
used to work here in DC and started off with federal government contracts, and now she has her own company helping people get grants. So make sure I give you that connection. I'm
Oh,
always
thank
thinking
you
to
so
people
much.
when you talk, and I'm thinking about who can I connect you with.
I
That's,
appreciate that so much because when I started Made, I started out of my pocket. I said I was going to retire from work, and actually I did. I didn't accept the offer. I had a job making about 72,000, and they told me that they were going to cut my salary by 20,000, and I quit. That wasn't the best decision that I've made, but I quit, and I started a nonprofit, and I was happy with that, but I realized it was more to it. It was more than just being a nonprofit and going around trying to get grants. And I actually spent my own money to fund the events. We did have fundraisers, but a lot of it came out of my, pocket. And so that went away. And then from there, it opened up the tier for me to go back out into the marketplace and to start up other businesses that you may talk about later.
yes, yes, yes. I know you have so many other businesses. Can you tell me about the creation and the purpose of Trash to Treasure Fashion Boutique and what kind of
Fantastic.
products you sell?
Well, I am wearing, and I may step back for a minute if you allow me. I am
Mhm.
wearing one of our nice, comfortable, it's kind of thin in material. I kind of
Ah,
pulled the sleeves back up today, but this long, fashionable maxi can be buttoned all the way up, has a collar, has a belt, and it could be worn that way. But Trash to Treasures came from me sitting home in the pandemic and looking at the clothes that I couldn't wear anywhere other than in my house. So I started it by selling items that were previously worn. You know me out and about at the events, either I'm hosting them,
mhm.
excuse me, or attending them. And at the events, I would be out there in my fashionable attire, which I only would have worn one time. And it's something here in the DMV. If you caught wearing that outfit twice, you're ragged on. You're ragged on. So, which is crazy because I like to repeat. In fact, I wore this in Miami in February. So I love it now that I'm just out of that realm. I have an abundance of clothes. But with that being said, it kind of gave me mental as well as the physical aspect of having all these clothes, full closets full of clothes, not wearing them but once out of these occasions that I would sell them. And so I started off that way,
I can't hear you.
I don't
I,
know what just happened.
okay.
Doing good from selling the clothes that I only had worn once or just slightly worn if I wore twice. Um, I sold them online, got a lot of money for them, did some flea markets. I did really good. And then I had a business partner come and ask me to join me. So came to me with a proposal to join me. And we've kind of gotten away from where the name came from, Trash to Treasures, the old things that I was selling or previously used, or some were even new with tags. But we started selling new apparel. So I still have the consignment piece in the background, but we have had with these pop-up shops, you've probably seen all over the pages, have been more of
Mhm.
new apparel. Every now and then some old apparel would be put in there, but I have gotten away a little bit from where I started from, and I do plan to incorporate that back in as well because it's nothing like a previously owned piece of item that you no longer have to spend for a Chanel pair of
Yeah.
shoes, shirt, hundreds and thousands of dollars that you can get for little nothing from me. So
So it's clothing and accessories.
it's clothing and accessories. Yes,
Is
it
it
is.
any shoes?
Yes, it is. And one of the things was when
Okay.
it was trash to treasures with just doing the previously owned clothes, of course, I wear a size 10 or 11. So, with that being said, it was only my size. So then I would have people inbox me and offer consignment. So then I said, well, that's the way I can keep it going with the new apparel, with the new business partner, as well as with the old accessory and clothing. So I do get consignment from other people.
Wow, that's fabulous. So when did the boutique start?
The boutique side of it started, I'd say, the end of December. We kicked it off pretty much December, and the new year we started the boutique side. So we've been doing the boutique side for about 6 months. But as far as the origination of Trash to Treasures, it started over the summer last year.
Okay, and I'll make sure
So the
people have
new
the
apparel.
link. People will
Mhm.
have the link to your website so
Right,
they
which
can
shows
shop with
both,
you.
which will show consignment and new apparel.
Oh,
We're
that's great.
revamping things right now, but please stop on over. We're having a huge discount. Huge.
Okay, I
Big,
will make
big.
sure people have that website to get with you right away to start shopping. Especially, this time of year, they say a lot of people are out and about now. They want to be cute. They want to have something, new for themselves. And it's never been a better
Yes.
time
They
than now.
said the world is open, so people are back out shopping. They're popping and shopping.
And I know you have some other passions, poetry, event planning. Can you also tell me about your book that you're working on? So I know you do poetry, your event planning. Talk about the poetry and you becoming an author very soon. Can you tell us about that endeavor?
Um, Alongside my youth of always wanting to write this book, I held writing it for various reasons. It's written, but it hasn't been published. And I've just let the time pass me by. And what am I waiting for? Well, I'll be honest. It was fear in the beginning. Years ago, it was fear. The book that I'm writing, Hush, Don't Say a Word, is based on my life, a true story. And it's kind of hard. You may think that you're ready, almost like going out on stage and you got to sing in front of all these people. But
Mhm.
every time I would get ready to publish it, something would just draw me back. And it has been fear. And going through the pandemic, I've overcome a lot of fears. But year after year, I would begin to say, I'm going to publish this book, and then I would just withdraw. And one of the fears were when you tell stories based on a real life story, the fear comes in place of people that are involved. I actually went back, and though I'm grown and I don't have to have permission to tell my life story, I did go back and speak with people about what was going to be in the book. Because I've always, anybody that knows me, I care more about others than I probably do myself. And I wanted to make sure that it was comfortable for one. Growing up as a child, talking about your life story involves your parents. So I wanted to get the approval for them or wanted to discuss it with them so that they wouldn't feel any type of way, that I wanted to be truthful to tell my story. So fear has stopped me. Even some of the other components in the book that involve people, there's a lot of hurt and pain in this book. And again, I was just fearful of what it would do to other people and family, because it wasn't just about me, although I was the one who experienced this, but what was it going to be for their descendants and so forth. And I think that the others may not. I could have been had a book out, been had it published. I consider myself already a bestseller. I know it will sell. But again, I wasn't out there just for the money, just for a passion. I'm out there for a purpose. And I want to be
Mhm.
able to reach someone when this book is finally published.
I will say this, and this is from someone who's been writing her book for 15 years. And look, and mine is my life story too. You can change the names. You're not changing the facts, but you can change names. And
Mm-hmm.
but you know that when this book does come out, your testimony, your what you went through is your testimony will be somebody else's deliverance. You know that, right?
Absolutely.
So you
And I
know
used
that,
to say just reach one, but after speaking with some coaches of mine,
you know it's
it
going
would
to
be
reach the
reaching many
masses.
because
Yes,
we have so many people that have gone through the same things, and it's time that I tell my testimony.
it's
So
time.
it's
So
more
you
than
can't
being an
worry about
author;
everybody else. It's
it's my
time to tell your story.
testimony.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Because that has set some other people free and deliver other people. You
absolutely, and that
what
is
God
my
gave
goal.
you.
My
Yeah. So
goal
I'm
is
just
never to
encouraging you as
make
someone
money.
who's been going through the process. And I have girlfriends that are authors and they self-publish as well. I have a couple
Mm-hmm.
girlfriends with their own publishing companies, and they always say, you know, your testimony, your story, your voice is
Mm-hmm.
needed because somebody can read that book and be set free, healed, you know, and delivered who went through the same thing and did and felt all alone that she went through it. So just you know, I want to pray about now that I know you've been working on this for years. I'm going to pray
For
that God gives you the
years,
grace and the timing because this is a good time. A lot of people are hurting in a lot of different ways. And the pandemic brought forth a lot of pain from the people's past. Your people had a whole year to sit home and deal with that pain. So the timing of this book, just pray about it. Don't keep holding what God
absolutely,
has
because it
given
just
you.
may not have been my time then. It just
Yeah.
may not have been my time. And now I believe is the time because I've looked at it from that view, a testimony. It's
Yeah.
more than writing a book, it's more than
Yeah.
being an author. It's a testimony.
And it's
Ab-
going to set other people free.
Absolutely.
You, I'm
That
just,
is
I'm
the
just, I'm just
ultimate
telling you. I'm
goal.
supposed to tell you that. I'm telling you, it's going to be. Now
Yes,
I'm
I
getting excited.
receive that in the
I'm
name of
getting
Jesus. I
excited.
receive
Yeah,
that.
because I know you, and I know you have a pure spirit, and I know you wrote it for. And God's going to honor you with that, and it's going to be a whole lot of people, honey, not just a few. So get ready, get ready. I think you should really let
Wow.
go because God did not give you the spirit
Yeah,
of fear, but He didn't give you the spirit of fear, power, love, and a sound
absolutely.
mind. So you got
Absolutely.
to release what God gave you. It's already written. If it hasn't been,
Absolutely.
He
Let
already has.
go and let God.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
somebody's going to get delivered because of your story. I'm just telling you. Let's go on.
Absolutely.
Girl, I could talk about that all night.
I
But
know.
I'm
I
excited.
appreciate
I'm
and I
excited. I'm
appreciate your
excited.
blessings over that.
I'm excited. You have to, you know, before you launch that book and do your book to you have to come back to chat with Nessa. You have to schedule
I
up
do.
once you get it published and you start and you go on a book tour, you have to come back and see me. Now I know you're also you don't have any snippets I want you to share, but do you have, I know I'm putting you on the spot. You write poetry, you're into poetry. I did
Hmm.
not ask you in advance. Do you have a poem that you can share, a piece of one of a poem or something that you've written that you can share?
Ah, you did put me on the spot.
You don't have to do it now. You when you come back, I'm gonna have you come back anyway. When you come
Yes,
back, you can do
indeed.
that.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, I do. I have several I've written just to rehearse it off the top of my head. I'd say I'd have to come back, but I definitely want to come back with the one that I wrote that is a man with a heart of gold. So, we always talk about women, but a
Mhm.
man with a heart of gold. And so the story has been told. One man with a heart of gold. I'll come back and
Okay,
share that with you
I'm
all.
gonna hold you to it. Now let's go back to your nonprofit.
Hmm.
Okay, my attitude determines my attitude determines my
My
mate.
attitude determines everything, but your attitude does determine your altitude. So,
Yeah,
yes, but
that's
my
true.
attitude determines everything because it does. Your attitude determines everything about you
Yeah,
from the
your
moment I
mindset.
wake up. From the
Mhm.
moment I wake up. And I'm not saying that there isn't any days that aren't great after you wake up or you don't experience things, but the moment you wake up, the moment I wake up, it's about your attitude. How could you? And I don't want to be spiritual with anybody, but I am. I am. I believe in
Mhm.
Christ. And
Yeah.
when I get up, that's just the first for me. My attitude, being alive. So alive in a lot of ways, you got all your limbs, your senses, everything churning. So to wake up and just be aware that you are here
Yes.
and to feel a heartbeat
Yeah.
means a lot to me. So with that being
Yes.
said, my previous or the jobs I had in my younger years, United Airlines customer service. And I will forever appreciate the job that I wish I had kept, but I left for one of the trainings that they did for 6 straight months. We weren't allowed to be released to the public on our own until we did 6 months of someone listening to us on the back end. The customers didn't know it, but we knew it. And that meant that we had to present ourselves well for the company, but it also helped me throughout my life. And I've been told by many, you have great customer service skills. I'm always ending with thank you kindly or one moment. Or people may consider wearing a poker face. But nothing is more satisfying to me than to have top customer service. It's an embarrassment to me to do anything less.
Yes, and I wanted to get back to your program, your Made movement for the you mentor the youth. Can you share a few success stories from your nonprofit of mentoring so many years, so many different youth? Do you have one or two success stories you can share?
Yes, I am happy to present that. First of all, the youth that I had involved, they would help me with the programs. Um, they're now parenting, which is great. All of them are finished college. I'll come back and maybe you have it where you can share pictures, but or I'll put some up after the interview. But they have finished college. They have told me that coming through my program, even by way of them being like they came in and was the poetry writers, they came in being the volunteers, or came in being a part of the play we used to do, or some of them, one of them was on 106 in Park. So with that being said, one of them is out in Chicago helping with Black awareness. Queens Progressing. One of them, like I said, is with 106 in Park, or not actually with it, but have gone through, have their own music label, with that being said. But one of them that stands out, and they all are great, magnificent children. And I have four major success stories that I would attach to this post, is that the two I spoke of and the volunteer, but I had one who started with me at age 10. Age 10, she actually was my assistant at age 10. And I know that's far fetched for people to believe, but she was already proficient in everything, very intelligent, very articulate. And her mother, every chance she gets, a sandbox friend of mine, don't go without speaking about how that really helped her daughter at 10. And it was also a good experience for me to, once I saw that this 10-year-old could speak on the lines of a teenager, we would have conversations, and it was mainly her to file stuff for me, send out meeting. She was already proficient in that, and so I would ask her just this question. Didn't know I was going to get this serious answer, or honest answer. What did you think about the meeting today? Just thinking I'm asking a 10-year-old, but her answer helped me. You all shouldn't be eating during your meetings. This was a 10-year-old. I noticed you have them eating at the meetings. I couldn't believe it. I mean, at 10 years old, she had already had her own shoe label. But I was
Wow.
just impressed. And so today she's graduated also from college, and her mom just says you've really, really played a major role in her life. And I'll share the picture when she was little and I was handing her certificate. And now that she's all grown up, I have another volunteer that her mom said if it wasn't for you taking up some of her spare time, that she could have been out here in social media world, these MySpace, this Facebook, this Instagram. So that's the success stories for me, that Two out of the four children, they were very young, 10 years old and maybe like 12 years old. And their moms were very happy that I kept them out of the social media world. And then the other two were preteens, but they always were well mannered. They respected me. Anytime I would ask them to perform, one did poetry, one did music. It was without hesitation. Their parents didn't even get involved. They wanted to charge me. So anything that I can do for them, and it was just many more. The success is just seeing that they are still here and they are still being successful.
That's awesome. And you said you're going to be relaunching parts of the programs, correct? Coming up.
I'm going to be bringing it back out because they're still bullying. Now it's moved to the social media. There's still, all of us are working with health and fitness over the pandemic. We've all picked up these pounds. We all need to know when we go out to eat, the patience and waiting in line, sitting down, the mannerism, and even for myself, putting down that telephone while we're at the table, knowing how to be sociable. So amongst people. So it's four major components to it. But yes, we are revamping and coming back out.
Are you going to have a relaunch, like a relaunch event, or?
I probably will
Yeah,
because it's
when you do that, I would like to be invited. So
of course,
chat with Nessa can go live and maybe cover
of
go
course.
live and do
I
some
would love
event
because
on Instagram or something and be there to help volunteers because that's
I would love for
important.
you to come there and be one of my guests that we can go live. When I was doing the programs, I always had someone live from DC Magazine to 93 KYS to some other media people who would come to my home. I'll share something with you. When I started the MAID movement and I had the idea to go out and help the children in the community, I went around and I'll tell you, in my home, I don't have a great big home, but in my home, I had 90 people pass through that day. And it's not even the size of my home, but at one time we probably were in here about 50. The other 40 passed through. I went around a month before. I told people on the phone, I talked about it. I want to invite you to something. Nobody knew I was doing MAID. Maybe nobody but my best friend from Delaware named Nessa. I went around, and I'll have to share that with you on the page, and I had gift boxes. They were red with a leaf coming out, tied up with white ribbon. And in the inside was some iridescent paper and ribbon, and it said, "You're invited to a tea." So I actually started it with a tea. And I went to each person's house and I handed them this red box. I drove to their house and rung the doorbell, and this was their invitation. I took it
Wow.
way back to stuff people don't do. I wanted to be
Mhm.
like a telegram. So I went and personally did that. And that, of course, made everybody want to come and see what that was about. So they came to my home and we had tea and we had pastries and we had little hors d'oeuvres and everything. And towards the end, and I gave out some certificates and some people who had donated that I had told in private that I was going to be doing something special. They didn't even know what it was. But at the end, I gave out some gift boxes. But I announced that it was a tea and I was going to be doing the nonprofit. I should say I announced that part. And I got volunteers. I had over 25 volunteers at one time, always for the event. But they agreed to help me with the program, and they did. And it was just a success. So I look forward. I don't know if I'll be able to go door to door this time, but stay tuned. I have something in store.
Yes, and that's that event planning background that you have to do the telegram idea. That's
Yes,
old school. But
indeed.
that's the event planner in you that went that extra mile and had those beautiful little gift box invitations. So again, you'll have to let me know when there's going to be the launch, and I can even come behind the scenes and help you put stuff together, girl. I don't mind working. You just
I
call
know
me.
you don't. I could definitely say that about you. I should be
I don't mind
interviewing
working
you.
behind the scenes. You need the
Don't.
administrative help, do some calls for you, come to the house, put some gift boxes together, put some programs together. You just call me.
I'm gonna hold you to that
No,
because I'm
I
not
will
gonna
be
put them on
here.
blast. But I started out with 25. I don't have 25 volunteers now. But who knows? Something new may come about. It's a
Yes,
new.
but you can count on me
It's.
to volunteer to help you with the
Thank
launch.
you
I'll
so
work
much.
behind the scenes, because I've known you for, like you say, 2 years. I said a year, but 2 years. And I know that whatever you do, you put your whole heart into it. And I know
I
God is going to
do.
bless it. Just like I'm so excited about the book. I'm going back to the book. But I know God is going to bless that too, Paulette, Miss Lady P. I'm telling you. Okay, now I want to wrap this up with
Okay.
asking you, what are some of your future plans that you're not sharing? I know you're working on some projects. You're expanding the boutique. You're working on the book is done. You just got to get a
It's
publisher.
done. I just need to
It's done.
publish it.
Any other exciting news? You're going to relaunch, the mentorship with the children. Any other projects you're working on coming up you want to tell me about?
And usually I do share a lot, and then
But you
as
got
the
some
year
stuff
goes
on the
on,
down low, right?
and has time. But no, I'm because what's for you is for you. I
Hey,
had to really have that encounter with myself that what's for you is for you. And it has always been my desire to go back to school. So I am going to finish college. I'm going to do that. I am going to get that RV so I can ride around from city to city to speak to children all over the world. I took those invitations and hand delivered them. So I don't have no problem with getting behind the wheel or getting me a driver to drive me around. I can fly a plane. I mean, not fly a plane literally, but I could go by plane. But I would love to go from city to city because I want to reach cities. If I stopped in New Jersey, if I stopped in Philadelphia and go around and tour. So that's the next biggest thing is going on tour. I'll be going on
okay, well,
tour.
what will help that? You link the book to the nonprofit, then you already have the book tour, and then you just
Mhm.
link them together.
Exactly.
You
Linking
just
them
link them
together.
together. You
The
got your
piece of
book
it that
signings.
definitely,
Yeah, you got your
absolutely.
book signings and you got your relaunch done. Then you just go
Right.
connect the youth and you have the people coming for the book
And
signings.
now,
You
right,
could be
because you got
announcing
to know, yeah, you got to have, like you say, plan and
what you say. You got
purpose.
to,
You got to have plan and
yes,
purpose. So coming from the book,
yes,
what do I want to get out of that is to reach others. And the first line is to reach the youth because what happened with me happened as a youth. So
yeah.
yeah, that's where I'm headed to now. Headed to next.
And then as a speaker and a life coach, that book will connect all of that. It's all connected because
It's
then when you go on a
all
book
connected.
tour, then you'll have other women and other people you'll be reaching. You might be invited to churches, to different organizations to speak. And
Yeah.
then with that, you can then have your life coach stuff. I'm saying this because I've interviewed women from all over the country, literally in the last 10 months. A lot of them have books, they're authors, but they also do life coaching. And the book is connected to that. They make appointments and build that life coach business right from the book because the
Mhm.
women that you'll meet, I'm just telling you, it's all
Yes,
connected.
to help people that walked in my shoes.
Yes, and then that helps the life coach part of it that you'll be doing too. It's all
Absolutely,
connected.
it's
It's all
all
connected.
connected.
That
Yep.
is, I'm so excited, especially about the book.
Well, I am too. Yes, Hush, don't say a word. It's loaded up
Yes,
my little
honey.
logo back there in the back. Hush,
And it's
don't say
coming
a
out
word.
soon because you're
It's
not
coming
walking in
out
any
sooner
fear.
than they think.
So we can deliver some other people who can be blessed
It's
because
about
of what you've been through.
deliverance. My
Yeah,
testimony is for deliverance.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited, Paulette, about all that you're doing. I'm sorry, First Lady P.
You can
You know
call me
what?
Paulette.
I like to say First Lady P because I know, and then
My
glory to
mom
God,
likes to call me that. I'm like, Mom. Or I hear
because
my
it's
Aunt Angie, Lady P. I'm like,
Lady P. And in my phone, I think you're back in my phone. That's what I have you as Lady P. So I call you Lady P, First Lady P,
I got
because
that out in the event world. That came from
you know what
social
that
media.
reminds me of, though? First ladies are pastors. Yep, I'm not
Uh-huh.
saying you. I'm just saying when you
Pastoring them
see
sheeps,
First Lady
girl. Go
P, I
on
say
and pastor those sheeps.
You know what? But the thing is, that book is going to minister to a lot of people. So you might get some speaking engagements at churches. You never know what that's going to lead to. I'm gonna
You
leave it alone
never
right
know.
there.
I'm gonna tell you something. You
But when you
never
go
know.
back to school and finish your degree, I'm thinking, okay, you said you didn't give up on being a judge. Now, will you go ahead and extend that to law school next? And then,
Well, that's what I'm not gonna share what I'm going back for, but I will be going back.
yes. Okay. Well,
Maybe on the
I'm
next
so excited.
interview.
Yep, and I really do expect you. You have me in your phone. You call me as soon as that launch. You need help with planning that launch or whatever. I
Yes.
don't care if it's administrative, whatever. Behind the scenes, I come to the house. I can help fold papers, whatever, make the little box, whatever
Thank
you
you
got
so
doing,
much.
you're doing. Let
I
me know. I'm
really
gonna make sure I
appreciate
connect you
that.
with Michelle in Jersey. I can think of a couple people. I have another girlfriend that's own publishing company. I have two or three people I know that they self-publish, but they own their own publishing company. So if you want any information, just call me and hit me up. And I'm so grateful and happy that I've known you for 2 years. I count you as a friend and that you
Yes.
took your time to come on Chat with Nessa. And you can say, don't forget me now when that book gets published and become #1 on the New York bestseller list. Don't be acting like you didn't know Chat with Nessa.
Oh no, never.
When you get
One
on
thing about me,
MSNBC or the Day Show, don't forget it was Chat with Nessa
I
first.
tell you something. I worked at a job at the Pentagon, the Missile Defense Agency, and my supervisor, she'll probably look at this later. She came outside one day and she said, I didn't know you drive that car. And she said, you ain't never tell nobody. So I didn't know I was supposed to tell anybody. So I say that to say, I don't change who I am.
Yeah,
What
you
you see
don't.
now is what you'll get. What
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pour into others, the youth, today. I could have had lipstick on. I could have had lashes on. I could have did it all up.
You have
But I
many different
wanted to
looks.
come in the
You have so
purest
many
form.
different looks, Paulette. Paulette, look, the one thing I can say about you, you have so many fabulous looks. It doesn't, you don't even need all that. But
Yes,
you
I
have
didn't
so
feel
many
like that
looks.
today. I'm in the comfort of my home. I want to be as pure and natural as I could be. I'm
And
not
you know
even
one
wearing
thing
makeup.
about you, you do not change as a person. I can truly say
Mm-mm.
you are very genuine on the inside, beautiful on the inside. So it really doesn't matter what you have on the outside, even though you're beautiful outside too. It really is your heart that I think is so fabulous. And I'm so excited and grateful that
Thank
God is
you.
using you to reach the youth. You're relaunching that, your book, your boutique. God is doing
Oh
big
my
things,
God, it's
honey.
just boom, boom, boom,
God is
boom,
doing
boom.
big things. And He has done some big things in your life, even the past two
He
years since I've
has,
known you.
I tell you, this pandemic has really been something. I've lost a best friend in the pandemic. I had three best friends, and I lost one, and I miss her so much. She was one of my biggest cheerleaders. But inside the pandemic as well, it has blossomed so much for me too. So there is the other side of it where we all have to get through. We're grieving of lost ones, people being sick. But also it's been a lot of blessings. And I
Yeah.
thank God for that. And that's who's the head of my life. And
Yes, and
that's
that's
what
why
keeps me going.
you have favor because he's ahead of your life. We have one thing I want to say that I learned at I Am Master Academy. I trade. It's unless God is in your business, you're out of business. And I
I
truly
like that.
believe, and that's a true connection. Every person I've talked to in 10 months, 30 something interviews later,
I like
it
that.
was one common denominator every business woman or man that's been on Chat with Nessa has, and that is God. And that's why you have the favor. That's why you have the peace. That's what
Mhm.
got you through the pandemic. People who are still here, you have a purpose.
Absolutely.
If the pandemic didn't take you out, you
Peace
have a
and
purpose.
purpose.
You have a purpose, and that's why God put you here. And so I'm so happy
Absolutely.
that you're doing your purpose and you just now starting some of it. You got some more stuff God's gonna do for you. But I'm so
Thank you. I
excited.
received that.
I'm so excited about the book. I can't stop getting excited because I didn't know all about the stuff.
Right.
I didn't know
Hush,
about
don't
stuff
say a
before the
word.
interview.
It will. It will be published very soon. It will
Yes,
be
ma'am. And I
published
just
very
want to
soon.
say thank you for your time. I appreciate you. You got to stay in touch so I know when everything is going on, the launch and everything you need, if you need any help. And I appreciate you, Miss CEO, author, life coach, and a
I'll
phenomenal,
take
phenomenal.
that.
and a poet who will be sharing her poetry the next time she comes on.
I
Chat
sure
with
will.
Nessa. And
I
your
will
boutique will
share.
be under this broadcast, the link so people can start shopping now. You also will be on YouTube and podcasting on
Thank you.
iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, and Spotify. So reach
I
out to this
appreciate
beautiful
you. I
woman.
appreciate you for thinking so much of me.
Oh,
I
I do.
appreciate you.
I always have. But you know what? You've always been Miss Genuine. When I think about you, I think about genuine and person with a pure heart who really cares about people. And I've known that for 2 years. That has never
I
changed.
do.
And
I
that's why
really
God
do.
has given you such favor. And I'm so excited. I'm really excited. I'm just kind of excited. This has been my most exciting interview because I learned some stuff today that I didn't know before. Stuff that
Wow.
God is doing in your life is very exciting. And I appreciate you. And I just want to say to everyone, I'll see you tomorrow on my regular Thursday with Carol Brewer. She's a music minister, a songstress, and a teacher from California. And she'll be with me tomorrow on Chat with Nessa at 6 o'clock. And Paulette, thank you for coming on this special edition of Chat with Nessa. I want to say I appreciate you. I love you. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. God bless you.
Okay. Take care.
All right. You too as well.